Boxing.
On the edge.
Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope you got a chance to watch the boxing on Saturday. Congratulations to Dimitri Bivol. Excellent performance in defeating Canelo Alvarez. Boxing's on a roll right now, as I keep saying, and we got another really good fight this coming Saturday. Jamel Charlo takes on Castano in a rematch in the junior middleweight division. This is for the undisputed title. So this will be the first time any boxer's ever had this title in a 4-belt era. So historic fight. Let's talk about it.
Boxing.
Okay, so as always on this channel, what we do, we break the fighters down, talk about their style, their trainers a little bit. I'll get into a fight prediction and I'll break the fight down later on. I've also got a section called the hurt zone, where I'm going to highlight when fighters were hurt in the past and how does it play into this Saturday's fight. And obviously this is a rematch, so we're going to highlight most of it from the previous fight because both guys were hurt in that fight. So I'll explain why they were hurt and what they can do to avoid being hurt. And I'm going to leave timestamps for all these different sections so you can skip to each of those. I'll leave it on the screen right now and in the description box. Let's take a quick look at the tail of the tape. As you can see straight away, Castano giving up a few inches in height, also a few inches in reach. How will that play a part in the fight this Saturday? I will talk about that in the fight breakdown. They're similar ages as well, and obviously they're going to be weighing in roughly around 154. We're assuming they'll come in at 154. So intriguing fight. Okay, let's start with Jamel Charlo. Now the Charlo twins aren't everybody's cup of tea, let's be honest, but they're fantastic fighters, you know, and Jamel Charlo's got a great opportunity to be in the history books. And he's a great fighter, and he's very athletic, and he's got really good fundamentals, works extremely hard. He can punch too. We've seen that. He's been knocking guys out, and you know, he hurt Castano in the last fight.
Boxing.
He's got a great tight left hook. He's got a good one too. He's got a good right hand. You know, he's just a very, very good all-round boxer. I really like his style, and I'm going to favor him in this fight. And you know, I'll speak about that later in the fight breakdown. But you know, excellent fighter. He's trained by Derek James. I love Derek James as a trainer. He's a really good trainer. Obviously, he trains Errol Spence, and he got, you know, a victory with Spence just recently. And I think he's really good for Jamel Charlo. He tells fighters the honest truth in the corner if they're losing, and he mentioned that in the rematch in the first fight with Castano. He's like, bro, you're losing. You need to step it up a little bit. And I love that because not all trainers do that. And he doesn't, you know, he tends to just sort of fine-tune trainers. And I think he's perfect for Charlo. I think he's perfect for Spence. So they make a really good combination. So let's move on to Castano. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a load of him. I remember seeing him in the Lara fight when I think they gave that a draw, right? And it looked like they might have sneaked him out of that. But I only watched the fight once, and he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy, comes to win. Argentine, got a bit of power. You can see his punches, they're quite stiff and sturdy. He's a pressure fighter, but he's not like, he's a calculated pressure fighter. He likes to get his fighters on the back foot. He likes to get them on the ropes, and he likes to, you know, go to work. And that's what he was doing in the first fight a little bit, and that's what he's going to try to do in this rematch, because that's really all he knows, really. You know, he's given up the height and reach, and he's just a very tenacious boxer that thrives on getting you on the ropes and you know, letting his hands go. So I honestly don't know who trains him. I should have done my research. I'll leave a picture up with the picture, and you can, you know, look it out for yourself, because I don't know who trains him. So unfortunately, I should have looked that one up. But anyway, moving on. let's get into the hurt zone. Okay, this is a fairly new section on this channel. I'm going to highlight when these guys were hurt, and it's going to be specifically for the first fight that they had. Okay, so, and I'm going to play some tape at the same time to break down exactly why this happened. Okay, so Castano gets his opponents on the ropes, as I've mentioned. All right, he's trying to push Charlo back, which is where he's better at. Now Charlo was luring him in a little bit. Sometimes he stays on the ropes too long, Charlo. But this time, you know, you could tell he was luring him in with a catch and shoot, okay? So for anybody that doesn't know what a catch and shoot is, you hold your hands up in anticipating the punch coming at you, and when your opponent hits the glove, that's when you release and shoot straight back, because when their opponent's gloves on your glove, it's not by their chin, so there's an opportunity to punch. And Charlo caught Castano, beautiful left hook on a catch and shoot, and that is what he should be looking to do a little bit in this fight. Because I say a little bit because when he's on the ropes, he's also giving Castano, you know, the advantage. So it's a dangerous game to play. He also got hurt himself moving on to Charlo. He got hurt by a left hook on the ropes as well. Simply by just not dropping his hands. It was just a little mental lapse of concentration. His hands were up high, and then, you know, like, there's so much going on when you're in an exchange that, like, a simple drop of the hand like that can result in you getting clipped, and he did twice. He got hurt. They both guys got hurt. I think Castano in the second, and then Charlo in the third. Both on the ropes, both from left hooks. So that is going to play a factor. Prior to that, Charlo, I don't think he's been that badly hurt. Not that I've seen. And Castano, I know he back in 2016, I think there was some old footage of him surfacing where he got dropped by a 1-2. That's certainly possible, because Charlo has an excellent 1-2. He just needs to commit to it a little bit more, in my opinion. But in terms of the hurt zone, the left hook is going to be the one to look out for. Charlo's got to, if he's going to get on the ropes, he's got to, and lure him in with the catch and shoot, he's got to keep his hands up at all times, okay? That's how dangerous it can be. If you make a split-second mistake, you can get clipped and the fight can be in jeopardy. So, yeah. That's it for this section of the hurt zone. Let's move on to the fight breakdown. Okay, fight breakdown. Okay, so the first fight, there were a lot of lulls in the first fight. It was a fairly decent fight, but it had patches of downtime. Okay, and Castano, when he's in the middle of the ring with Charlo has all the advantages. Okay, he obviously got the height and reach and even the age. But he's got the physical advantages, he's got the athleticism, he's got the speed, he's got the power. Castano's got a bit of power too, don't get me wrong, but this is Charlo's fight to lose, if you ask me. He's got to be a little bit more busy in the middle and not get sucked into too many exchanges on the ropes. I know sometimes he might be doing it to set traps, and that's worked, and that's fine. But he's a better boxer. He's quicker, sharper, crisper, more athletic, like I mentioned. It's going to be Charlo's fight to lose, and he's already come out and said he's going to stop Castano and knock him out. Listen, he's very capable of doing that. It's quite conceivable that he's going to do that. I personally don't think he will, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did. And I think the fight's going to be very similar to the first fight. I think, you know, Castano's going to look to back him up. And he's going to look to get him on the ropes, and he's going to look to go to work and get busy and let his hands go on the ropes with tight combinations and hit the body and come upstairs. And, you know, Charlo, you know, he's playing a dangerous game. I think if he stays on the ropes for too long, I think his fight should be in the middle, and he's got to use his jab a little bit more, okay? He's got to use his jab a little bit more, get a little bit busier, let his hands go in the middle. When there's some downtime and Castano's trying to maneuver Charlo onto the ropes, because that's what he's ultimately trying to do. He's trying to get positioning on him. don't let him do that as much as you did. Don't be so free and willing to get backed up. You got to try and back him up a little bit, and you know, like whether it be with the jab, as I mentioned, with some 1-2s, but believe in your punches a little bit more and snap him a little more. He's a little tentative with the jab. He's got an excellent jab, and be a little bit more sharper with the jab, I would say. Maybe come in with creative punches like a 1-2-1, which I mentioned in the Bivol fight, that was a success for Bivol at times, and it's a sneaky punch and it works against, you're not like, I was going to say non-thinkers. Canelo's a thinker, but like Castano's, you know, his IQ is okay, but like you can make unorthodox combinations like that work, and I think he could use that in patches. But just, it's the key to me is like, don't let the downtime and the rounds just slip away from you by being inactive and not being busy enough. If you're Charlo, the fight's there to win. It's an undisputed title. You got to let it go. And if you were to look at that fight, the last one, in the middle rounds and towards the end, you wouldn't have thought, wow, this is for the undisputed. It needs a bit more urgency. He needs to really want to grab it with both hands and be a little bit busier and let his hands go. That is just my personal opinion, and the actual fight prediction itself is, I'm going to say 12 rounds actually. I think Charlo wins a 12-round decision. I think it'll be fairly close, but I think it will be a, you know, I don't want to say decisive or you know, like, but or a clear win, clear close-ish. I think Charlo will do enough to get like a 116-112 win on the scorecards, maybe a majority, something like that. And I wouldn't be shocked if he stopped Castano, because there are opportunities for him to do that. He hurt Castano a couple of times in that fight, and he's a good finisher. Charlo's a really good finisher. He's got a good killer instinct. When he gets you hurt, he can smell blood, and that's conceivable. But Castano's tough. You know, he gets down, he's been on the canvas, as I said, and he's got up, and he's won fights from doing that. And he got hurt a couple of times in this fight and carried on fighting. And you know, the busier and the more Charlo's on the ropes, and the busier Castano is doing that, then that's going to favour him with the judges. So that is my prediction. Jamel Charlo, excuse me, with a, you know, a points victory in a good performance, being the undisputed junior middleweight champion, first time in this 4-belt era. Historic fight for boxing. We can't keep trying to tell people that boxing's on flying right now, man. We just got to sit back and enjoy it, you know. No matter who you favor or who like, there's a lot of like, just enjoy this historic fight. I know I will be. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this fight and your thoughts and concerns about either fighter. And thank you for watching Boxing on the Edge. Take care of yourself.
Boxing.
On the edge.